Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HA Network. Thursday, July 27th, and we are happy to be back in studio after covering the semifinals and championship of the 2017 Babe Ruth 14U New England Regional Tournament. Frank Granito with Kevin Coleman and Joe Mixie will join us shortly to give you his final Bridgeport Bluefish update of the summer. And Kevin, we were live yesterday at Trumbull High. We saw another great baseball game, and Trumbull has won the regional tournament. They are moving on to the World Series in Glen Allen, Virginia.
Oh, it was a great series.
No, never mind. Mike, come back to me. Never mind. No, I'm sorry. So Trumbull, a 4-2 winner yesterday. We're not doing soccer. I'm telling you right now, we're not.
You can't even give it one little plug.
No, we're not doing soccer.
Gold Cup champs. Come on, Sup.
They beat Jamaica. Who cares? Like, who cares?
Gold Cup champs, baby. Here we go.
Literally.
Jordan Morris in the 89th minute. Great goal. U.S. soccer, baby. Let's go.
And we want to thank you, Kevin, for joining us today. We'll see him next week on Nutmeg Sports. Now, Trumbull, a 4-2 winner yesterday. They played Hingham Hole, the Eastern Massachusetts state champion. The remaining undefeated teams in the tournament, both 5-0 entering this game. Kevin, the one thing that really stood out to me, and I started processing it this morning, Hingham Hole played a game very similar to their semifinal matchup against Pittsfield, and ultimately in a tournament like that, you're asking a little too much of these young men to rally in the final 2 innings and overcome a 3 or 4 run deficit in consecutive games.
You're right, but you know what, Frank? You got to give them a lot of credit for at least getting the bases loaded. 4-2, I mean, they were a hit away from tying that game up. If Lenahan was able to poke that one out for a single maybe in the outfield, that game's tied. I got to give Hingham Hall a lot of credit. They played with a lot of heart. And you talk about that game against Pittsfield. You know, for a majority of the part of that game, it really felt like it was Pittsfield's. And then they really, did a nice job of coming back. Lenahan with that big hit back up the middle to give them the lead. You talk about that crazy 3-run inning, that bottom of the 5th. But you got to give Hingham Hall a lot of credit. Played with a lot of heart, some nice comebacks. But Sam West was just too good for Trumbull on the mound.
I mean, Mike Suppy described Sam West's performances as Greg Maddox-esque. The young man needed 39 pitches to get through the first 5 innings. He was nothing short of dominant out there. And on the other side, I thought Joe Sylvester for Hingham threw a very good game. He went 6 innings as well himself. Didn't surrender a run until the 3rd, and then really got beat up a little bit in that 5th inning, giving up 3. But there you are now, top of the 6th. Hingham finds a way to get runners on. They score 2 runs. Then you come back into the 7th. They loaded the bases up with just 1 out, and with Lenahan stepping up to the plate, there was certainly, at least in the press box, you could say, a lot of doubt lingering in the back of the Trumbull parents' minds.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the parents, even the crowd, some Trumbull fans, were holding on to their seats a little tighter there and biting their nails, baby. That was an exciting end to the game. I think that was great for the game, but I'm sure for the Trumbull head coaches like Mike Buswell, you could see him when the team was celebrating on the field. He just stood there and kind of took it all in. I'm sure he was a nervous wreck during the whole thing, but what a great job by Sam West to compose himself enough, especially for a 14, 15-year-old to do that. The bases loaded, game on the line, able to get one of the best hitters in the lineup to hit a little dribbler back to the mound to get that final out. Again, just a great performance by Sam West.
4-2, the final score. Let's look at the highlights from yesterday's Trumbull win right now.
Appearance as he hits a fastball up the middle, takes a high hop and gets over Peter's head. Heading for home is Driley. He will score. They go to 3rd and they gun down Doria before he can reach the bag, but our first run crosses the plate. It is an RBI single for Allen. Jack Allen might argue against that as he picks up his 2nd hit this afternoon. Vicente swings at the first pitch. Moving back is Cashman. He's going to give it a throw towards home. That's cut off. Able to score is Doria. This pitch is swung on and hit. Walking in is Leonzi, heading for the plate as the throw is offline, and scoring is Jack Allen. Now it is Trumbull who is tearing up first pitches, and the lead is 4. As this one poked out towards left field, moving in and getting ready to shoot is Driley. Throw towards the plate is well offline, and it gets away from Vicente. Allows the runners to advance to 2nd and 3rd as a grounder to Buddha. Will let the run go home over to 1st and Teixeira good stretch to get the out. There are 2 away, and it is a 4-2 game with a runner on third. There is a huge lead, as is a slow roller in front of the plate. Up with it is West. He goes to first, and Trumbull has won the New England Regionals.
So there you see that final out, as Kevin mentioned. I mean, it was the top of the lineup that got the work done again for Trumbull. Jackson Vicente stayed hot as well. He had another RBI. The big 2-run double we saw by Brandon Buddha out to left field. The bats for Trumbull came through when they needed to, but the story yesterday, Kevin, was Sam West.
It was Sam West and the great defense that was behind him. I mentioned throughout the tournament that it was so important for a starting pitcher to rely on his defense and throw strikes, and I thought he did a wonderful job of doing that, throwing strikes, trusting his defense, and Brandon Buddha at third did an excellent job.
Again, Trumbull only surrendered 18 runs going into that game in the tournament. They were one of the strongest defensive teams in the tournament, and a player who really stood out to us over their last 2 games was Jack Allen at second. We were surprised, I think, just at how active he was and how involved he was in the field, but so consistent and just confident and calm, specifically, with that much action going on at second base.
Yeah, Jack Allen did a great job. You talk about Jake Gritadori at short. Ryan Teixeira made some great plays at first. You know, great scoops over there to, get some great outs. And, it's a big field for Gritadori and Buddha to make those long throws over to first base. I thought Ryan Teixeira did a great job. Jack Allen, like you mentioned, some great putouts, some nice double plays. Again, just very sharp defensively for Trumbull. I was very impressed.
But again, the story of the day was Sam West. 7 innings pitched, surrendered just 6 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them was earned. Had 1 walk and 1 strikeout. So talking this morning with one of our sports editors, Kevin, they asked, was it really a lot of movement? Was he just throwing stuff that was unhittable? And for me, I thought what Sam West did best was he threw controlled pitches. He didn't try to force anything, overthrow any pitches, and he hit his spots and forced a very aggressive Hingham lineup to swing at pitches they probably could have laid off.
Yeah, he trusted his own stuff, and I think you have to give a lot of props to the coaching staff and for Jackson Vicente behind the plate, giving him the signs, and for the 2 of them to have a good trust level between the 2 of them, it's so important. And you're right. Having control of his pitches and, having his pitches not be too wild, and he's getting ahead in the counts, and we talked about it throughout the game, throughout the tournament, that Hingham really swung at a lot of first pitches. And they didn't really work any counts. You talked about the pitch count, only 39 pitches through the 5 innings. That just comes to show Hingham was aggressive at the plate, but it didn't really pay off for them because they were swinging at first pitches, and Trumbull's defense was just so good that they were getting out. It was 5 innings were going by very fast, but again, just a great job by Sam West being controlled, throwing first pitch strikes, and again trusting his own defense.
First, 4th, and 5th inning, he retired the side 1, 2, 3. Kevin caught up with Sam after the game. Let's hear what the young man had to say after the victory.
Down here with the Trumbull starting pitcher and the pitcher of the Sam West. Sam, just talk through that.
That was an intense game all the way through. We started off 0-0 both sides. Inning, we got a lot of runs, came on top, and they just weren't able to come back. They had great base hits all the way through, and we came on top, so that's it.
Finish. Very exciting at the end. Bases loaded, 2 outs. You're facing Luke Linehan, probably one of the best hitters in the lineup. Talk us through that bet. He's able to hit a little dropper right in front of you, in front of the mound. You're able to throw to first. Walk us through the entire play.
Well, the whole game, just trying to throw low. All of these guys are great hitters. We knew that coming into this game. And you just got to stay low so they hit ground balls to our guys. Our infielders are great players, always making the plays. And that was just lucky right to me.
Now, after Teixeira is able to grab that bag, what's going through your mind? The dog pile is going on with your teammates. What's that like?
That is an amazing feeling. You have no idea what's going on. You just see your players on top of you. You're so happy. It's amazing.
Sam, congratulations, man. Go enjoy with your teammates, all right? All right, congratulations, man.
How about the cartwheels down in the corner there? That's
pretty,
good
skills.
Good snipe by our director, Mike Suppy, as well. So Trumbull now advances on. They'll play in Glen Allen, Virginia, the 14U World Series. That starts on August 10th. We want to congratulate, of course, Hingham and Trumbull again. We'll be joined next week, Kevin. Coach Mike Buswell and a couple of the regional champions will join us in studio. We're going to take our first break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, HAN insider Joe Mixie will join us, and we take our weekly look at the Bridgeport Bluefish. That's all next on the HAN Network.
Celebrate summer with fresh, made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
School's out, the weather is hot, and the fish are biting. Whether you're heading to the beach or out on a boat, stop in at the dock shop before you go to fill your beach bag or tackle box with everything you'll need for fun in the sun. A new beach cover-up, some sunscreen, or just some bait, the dock shop has you covered from either location. 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. And yes, you heard that right. Bait is now available in Darien and Westport. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. DockShop.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now at the summer clearance event. Going on now through July 31st.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month, here on the HAN Network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Let's throw it over to Kevin. Hear what he has to say.
Gold Cup champions last night, USA.
Terrible job framing your shot, by the way. We're happy to welcome in now our HAN insider for the Bridgeport Bluefish, Joe Mixie. Joe, normally we get you on Monday during the week, but obviously things have changed around with our coverage of the regional tournament. Let's first start with one of the bigger storylines out of Connecticut. How about the Breakettes taking down the Bluefish in the Battle of the Sexes on Sunday night?
Well, you know, it had to come sometime. It was a very hard-fought battle in the 4th annual Battle of the Sexes. And, yeah, it was a good night at the ballpark at Harbor Yard. Breakettes ultimately win 2-0. And it was kind of Bridgeport. I don't want to try to defend them in this aspect, but they were kind of sidetracked. We had a very interesting game on Sunday, which I talked a little bit about on Monday. It came down to the final strike for Bridgeport. They were winning 4-3 in the top of the 9th with 2 strikes, and ultimately the opposing batter for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs hit a double. Blue Crabs end up scoring 6 runs in the 9th, and they ended up winning 9-4. So Bridgeport's mind wasn't really in the game. Nevertheless, it was a hard-fought battle. The Breakettes played great. Their pitching staff was unbelievable. They were, you know, throwing the heat and putting some rising fastballs right in the zone and just, you know, flat out, for the fun of it, embarrassing these former Major League Baseball players, which is fun for all to watch. It was a good crowd at the ballpark at Harbor Yard. Ultimately, we did a great job in raising awareness for the Danny Kemp Foundation, which is where some of the proceeds went to. So it was all around a good night. We'll look to next year. I know the Breakettes staff and players were very, very excited, but I doubt they'll get another one.
Williams throw some gems there for the Bluefish there, but you saw you got a half game lead. You're the worst, you know that.
I'm glad you mentioned the half-game lead.
You're just the worst, you know.
Joe,
no.
Oh, you want to go ahead?
I'll go ahead.
Okay,
I'm gonna man up. I like this shot right here. You got the Bluefish have a half-game lead over the Somerset Patriots. You know, do you continue to see this fight between the Patriots and the Bluefish throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of the Atlantic League, forever. It's always going to happen. It's been something that's been going on since these two teams started in 1998. They're the two oldest teams in the Atlantic League, and they've consistently battled with each other. So Somerset's doing quite well after losing a midweek series to the Bridgeport Bluefish last week on the road, 2-1. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Bridgeport's been 5-5 in their last 10. It's been a game of ups and downs. They're on the road in a midweek series against York, the Revolution, and they took on a whole lot. I think it was like 10 or 11 times in the month of July. So they completely, just succumbed in the first game. 9-1 was the score. And then they turn around yesterday and they win 9-3 in a day game. So it comes down to the rubber match tonight. Jose Cuevas had 2 home runs for Bridgeport yesterday, so the long ball was in effect in that game. Rubber match tonight, and then they go home this weekend. The Ferry Cup continues at the ballpark at Harbor Yard as their rival. So Somerset is, a rivalry team, but their rival is the Long Island Ducks, and the Ferry Cup is what it's called because you just take the Port Jeff ferry over from Central Islip. You drive up, you take the ferry, and then you're right in Bridgeport. So they call it the Ferry Cup. It's always very close. Long Island and Somerset were the playoff teams out of the Liberty Division last year. And Bridgeport hasn't made it since 2010, so it's going to be very important for them to perform well against Somerset and Long Island this year. Ducks have been lacking a little bit, but they're starting to come back here as the second half progresses.
The Ducks have been lacking, Joe, but Bridgeport in a position right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Somerset right on their heels, 7-3. Bridgeport loses the next 4 games. They're going to find themselves sitting behind Long Island in the standings. So you could argue right now this is potentially the biggest series of the season with where they are and time winding down on the schedule.
Yeah, with Bridgeport having to win the second half or place high in the wild card if Somerset wins the second half, every series they go into is the new biggest series until they can really pull ahead and take a very substantial lead in the standings. And it was looking like they were going to do that, but we have some unforeseen circumstances that have hit the Bluefish, and that's all of a sudden most of their pitchers have been signed to affiliated ball. So we lose David Carpenter to the Arizona Diamondbacks organization last week. Right around the same time, starting pitcher Corey Reardon was signed by a league in Taiwan. And then earlier this week, Jonathan Abaladejo, former New York Yankee, was picked up by the Las Vegas 51s, the AAA affiliate of the New York Mets. So we've lost, I think it's 7 players, and 5 or 6 of them are pitchers, and 4 of those are in the starting rotation. So they're essentially down to a 2 or 3 man starting rotation, and they got a lot of shoes to fill. Rena Roybal, who came in as a reliever, started the game and pitched 5 innings. Last week did very good. Mike Aquilino made a couple of spot starts, a local guy, and he did all right, took 2 no decisions. Jorge Perez was another recent addition to the pitching staff, and he might come in and start some games. But they're really looking to make some acquisitions to try to bolster this starting rotation that was very, very well, and I guarantee you Bridgeport would have been very much in the driver's seat if their starting rotation had not been rated by affiliated organizations. But ultimately the goal of playing in the Atlantic League is, the managers and the staff want to help these players get back into affiliated ball and go as high as they can go. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you're in the middle of a pennant race, it's kind of unfortunate. So you just got to pull through it. You got to take it day by day and series by series. And I think that's what Bridgeport's doing right now, struggling to stay at the top.
But they do have themselves in a good position. 7 of their next 10 games are against Long Island, who currently sits at 3rd in their division. And then later on in the month of August, they will have 7 straight games against New Britain, who has really been struggling here to start the second half. Joe, want to thank you for your input again, as always, with the Bluefish. Good work. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
We're going to take one more break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, we've got a couple of local stories to catch up on that we missed earlier in this week when we were at Trumbull. That's next on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance event, going on now through July 31st.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
At Pure Barre Ridgefield, our tried and true method can shape every body and fit any schedule. Pure Barre is a total body workout using the ballet bar to perform small isometric movements which burn fat, sculpt muscles, and create long, lean physiques. Sweat away the day and get lost in the music. Pure Barre Ridgefield, located at 86 Danbury Road. Like us on Facebook at Pure Barre Ridgefield.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, Frank Granito alongside a properly framed Kevin Coleman this time around.
Thank you. Cruel prank.
Kev, I want to take a look. There are a couple local teams and athletes right now that have been in action at the national and international level. Let's start with Darien football. They took top 6 competing in a national 7-on-7 tournament out at Canton, Ohio, underneath the shadows of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We were talking, obviously, last week a little bit and into this week. You are very high right now, trending towards St. Joe's as a football power for this season, coming off a state championship appearance, as well as liking New Canaan's odds to come back with Drew Pine returning as a quarterback. You're a little skeptical or hesitant to get on the Darien bandwagon right now. I want to ask, what does this kind of a performance out of the national competition do for you?
I mean, it's positive, I think. I think that's the one word. You know, I mean, they should feel proud that they finished where they did in this tournament, because Ohio actually is a great state for high school football. You got a lot of good football in Ohio. So, you know, to finish 6th, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, they finished 6th. That's a great place to finish. But I still feel skeptical about this upcoming season. They lose a lot of seniors, and you know, this is not a knock on Darien football at all. I would like to see them succeed this year, but I really like what I'm seeing from St. Joseph's and New Canaan this year. I think those two teams could really make a push to jump over Darien, and we may see a new FCAC champion in football this year. I don't know, they don't crown an FCAC champion, but I know that I think those two teams can really make a push. But listen, I would like to see these underclassmen, you know, these juniors who are now seniors, these sophomores who are now juniors, to really step up this year and, you know, do big. But I think the question mark is, what are we going to get out of the quarterback position this year, Frank? I don't know. And what are we going to get out of the secondary? I don't know. It's a lot of question marks going into the season for the Blue Wave. I would like to see them be resolved. I would like to see them be answered. But right now, I just don't know. We have to wait till week 1, week 2 to really find out and get some answers. I'm looking forward to that week 1 matchup against Richfield. Richfield's offense is going to suffer this year, but their defense is back. I would like to see how they do against this Richfield defense in week 1. That's a tough matchup for them in the rematch of the state championship game. But right now, I don't think Darien's gonna be that same team from last year.
The win streak currently sits at 25. They just won their 4th consecutive offensive lineman challenge for the state of Connecticut last week. Then they come back, finish 6th out in Ohio. They lost to DePaul Catholic of New Jersey, who was the eventual tournament champion. I agree, it's always difficult replacing a quarterback. The good news is Mitchell Pryor, your starting running back, comes back. He split time with Finley Collins last year. I'm excited to see how he does in that full-time role. They bring back a lot of skill players. You've got another Minikis stepping up in the ranks now. Max Green is coming in as well, who had a great job as a leading receiver last year. The options are there, and I agree, Kevin. It's a new class, and the past 2 Darien classes have been very, very special groups. But the way it is right now, they are the kings of the conference until proven otherwise. And you're right, we're going to learn a lot early on in their schedule. They're at Tiger Hollow, always a difficult place to play week 1. And then week 3 on September 23rd, they welcome St. Joe's into Darien for their homecoming game. Of course, St. Joe's has got to play New Canaan in week 1. So there are a lot of big games early on that are going to determine both state playoff pictures and the conference picture before we even get to week 4 or 5.
And I think that's good for high school football. Maybe these teams wouldn't like to play these tough teams early on, but you look at St. Joe's, that's a tough schedule to start with. You can talk about New Canaan, Darien right away, right off the shoot. But I think you look at that, I think these are going to be 2 very close games. That New Canaan St. Joe's game is extremely intriguing. You look at that week 1 matchup, that's a good matchup between these 2 teams. I still think New Canaan's an edge better, but you look at St. Joe's going up against Darien at Darien. I do like St. Joe's a little bit in that game, but still, I like to see what Darien does against Richfield in week 1, especially playing at Tiger Hall. It's not an easy place to play with a defense that gets a lot of returners back. Still, I think the Richfield offense is going to take a hit, even though Greg Gatto is going to be the quarterback. I still don't know what this offense is going to be for the Tigers. Still don't know what this offense is going to be for Darien still. There's a lot on the line too, Frank. It's a big class they're losing on the offensive line. How are they going to protect the quarterback? It's a lot of question marks, and I hope they get answered, hope they get resolved before week 1 starts.
You look around now, St. Joe's in their first 3 weeks has got to go to New Canaan and to Darien. New Canaan will get St. Joe's at home. They get Trumbull at home in week 3, and then they've got to go to Greenwich in week 5. Darien's got Ridgefield on the road. St. Joe's at home. They've got to go to Staples week 5. Trumbull with Greenwich, New Canaan in their first 3 weeks. And Greenwich has got Trumbull, Trinity Catholic, which we expect to be a very tight game. There's a bit of boiling blood spilling over from last season in that one, to say the least. And then they've got New Canaan in week 4. So the teams we expect to be at the top of the conference are going to separate themselves early on, which, for the sake of the conference, I do think you want to see. You want your best teams playing your best teams, but then does it become just survival mode down the stretch? You just got to find a way to win these games you're supposed to win, or will there be a team or two from the middle of the pack, bottom of the conference, that comes around and surprises us?
That's a good question. And you look at Norwalk. I think that's a team that really could surprise some people this year. And you look at that, Trumbull. I think they lose a lot of seniors, but I still think this is going to be a very competitive football team. That's another great matchup, Trumbull-Greenwich. I like that matchup as well. So it's that week 1 is going to be absolutely fantastic. And, it's how many weeks away now? The clock is ticking now. We are looking forward to getting to some football here on the HA Network. 5 weeks?
5 weeks.
All right.
So that will be a lot of fun. We also want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to 2 former New Canaan girls lacrosse standouts. Olivia Homp, who just graduated from Princeton University, and former University of New Hampshire girls lacrosse player Jenny Simpson featured there. They just played in the 2017 FIL Rathbones Women's Lacrosse World Cup for Team England, and the New Canaanites, helped England take home the bronze medal with a 10-9 win in overtime over Australia. The 2 girls combined for half of Team England's goals in the championship, including the final 5. So a huge shout out for them. We're actually going to get a chance, Kevin, in a couple of weeks to sit down with both of these girls and find out more about their World Cup experience. We're at the end of the show. I'll give you a minute to talk about the Gold Cup.
All right. Gold Cup champions last night, U.S. men's national team. They won 2-1 against Jamaica. Jordan Morris gets the game winner in the 89th minute. Exciting match, back and forth. Josie Altidore had a fantastic free kick goal in the first half in the 41st minute. Jamaica able to come back, tie it up 1-1 right out of the chute in that second half. It was back and forth. Jamaica had some great chances, but at the end of the day, it was Jordan Morris, who not only has won a College Cup with Stanford, won an MLS Cup with the Seattle Sounders last year, and is now a Gold Cup champion with the U.S. men's national team. And there you see Frank's reaction right there.
You know what? Would you believe me if I told you I watched last night?
Yes, I would believe you.
I didn't. In fact, my roommate painted our walls. I watched the paint dry instead of the Gold Cup. Kev, a lot of fun today. We're off until next Monday. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you back Monday on the HAN Network for Nutmeg Sports.